There's fresh anger this morning at Victoria's legal loopholes, which are letting violent teens escape jail time. Earlier this week, we brought you the story of 25-year-old Alina, who was attacked in broad daylight by 3 youths as she waited for her bus. Police are working hard to tackle the city's crime wave on the front lines, but they do need help. They took me out on the front line to see firsthand what they're up against. Victoria's headlines seem to be on a loop.
Bats and knives has confronted a man and his auntie in a meltdown.
The thugs attacked their victims before fleeing.
Armed with wooden stakes.
Home invasions.
Horrible, you know, shocking. Shocking. I think it'll take me forever to get over it.
About 3 o'clock, heard a smash, walked out and there was a guy.
Carjackings.
The criminals basically walked down the side of the house, around the back, into the house, walked back again, got into the car and drove off right under our noses.
It's something you don't want anyone to experience.
And terrifying assaults.
I honestly thought that I would die, and I don't think anyone deserves to feel like they're going to lose their life.
But Victorian police are keen to show they're aware of the problem and dealing with it. People don't feel safe at home. That's when you've got a problem.
It is, and we acknowledge that we do have communities at the moment who don't feel safe.
So they took me out on the streets to see what they're facing.
But what we've got is a small, hardcore group of youth offenders who are now committing more crimes than they've ever committed before.
Dave, are we dealing with gangs here?
We acknowledge why victims and the community may perceive this to be a gang-related issue, but the fact of the matter is that they are not gangs as we traditionally know them to be. There's no structure to these groups, there's no leader of these groups, there's no home base to them.
And while the term gang is debated, there is no denying a large proportion of Melbourne's crime is still being committed by groups of Sudanese youth.
We certainly acknowledge that youth of African descent are overrepresented in some of these crime categories, particularly around the violent categories.
What about people who say the cops have gone soft on these guys, on these gangs?
I'd certainly disagree with that, because the fact of the matter is that we are arresting people at the moment in record numbers.
How do you stop it then?
We stop it with in my view, with a whole of community response. There's so many layers to this issue that there's no way that the police can do it on their own.
Last year, the Victorian Government increased penalties for those recruiting youths to carry out crime on their behalf, but it seems to have made little difference. Just last week, a 17-year-old who attacked a police officer, kicking him in the face while he was on his hands and knees, walked free with no conviction after spending less than a month in custody. He was on probation for crimes including home invasions and car theft. Because they don't seem to care. They don't seem to worry about the repercussions.
It's one of the things that we are finding, that we have a cohort of youth at the moment who have no concern about repercussions.
So what do you do?
Got to find out why that's the case.
Yeah.
You've got to get in lower, earlier, younger, understand what it is that's driving them to feel that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Something needs to be done. Victorians are scared in their own homes. Police say they are making more arrests, but the problem also lies with the justice system, which continues to let offenders walk free to commit more crimes. What do you do about kids as young as 12 who are committing more and more serious crimes? Yesterday, debate raged in Victoria's Question Time. The Premier, Daniel Andrews, acknowledging the rise in violent crimes by younger offenders.
You don't fund that gang squad. You don't fund $2 billion worth of extra police if you don't think that you inherited a crime problem from those officers, with crime going up and up and up.
It is, I would argue this morning, not the time for the blame game. As one police officer said to me, the time has come for action, for all parties to get together and work together, truly work together. They are doing all they can, our police force. A community's safety is everything, and the police told me we need everyone from elected representatives to community leaders, parents and kids to all come together. If they don't, police believe the worst is still to come, and no one knows what hell that will bring.